Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Rage, and we are back today to break down Marvel Strike Force's newest blog post here in regards to the return of Battleworld. As you can see, this was actually released yesterday, but couple key details, right? Obviously, this wasn't exactly the most fan favorite game mode, but they have made some changes now, and they've outlined it all in this blog post. So definitely looking forward to seeing what that's going to look like. But as well, they've also revamped in terms of how we're going to be unlocking Null, and I think that's going to be the most interesting because many of us want access to him, as he is just like an astronomical character, pretty iconic, and he has a really cool kit in the way that he performs too. So as you can see, Null is back and ready to test the limits of your roster with the return of Battleworld. As mentioned previously in the early preview blog, it's returning with some key updates, and again, I think this is key, going to be very key, and obviously we're going to be watching out for in terms of that detail. There's actually a strike time video here as well, breaking that down, but in case you guys did not want to watch that, a couple of the key changes they actually go through in more detail. So let me know, guys, in the comments below if you're a fan or not, but I know this was a pretty hyped up game mode for the entirety of 2024, so I would love to see it be successful. We'll see if these changes are the ones that are going to be more impactful and obviously have our alliance more engaged, right? But there was a little bit of boredom to it. A lot of it was just kind of autoing through the nodes and whatnot. So if there's a challenge and there's actually rewards associated that's meaningful, I think that's going to be the biggest takeaway here. So it does look like now officially Battleworld is a monthly event. One of the most dreaded things about the game mode itself was the Spec Ops, and that's actually been completely removed for that time being. I think they're probably still reworking and taking a look at, what works, what doesn't, but it just seemed very counterintuitive. Mind you, it was a good way to differentiate those that were the top performing alliances, but it just wasn't feasible for the general majority. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that integrate that back, because you do see here it may come back in the future. They're likely testing it out and trying to figure out that balance. Instead of last time where Battleworld, I believe, lasted for 6 days, now it's only going to be 4 total days with 3 standard zones and then finally the Null boss battle. So if it starts on a Monday, that means ideally you should have everything wrapped up on the Thursday. So I think that's a huge, key change right there with the quality of life, especially when it felt like, the Battleworld started on Monday and it ended all the way on Saturday, and it was just a lot of time. It wasn't even meaningful time. It was more so just us having to go in and actually do the attacks, and there wasn't a way to sim the attacks or anything either, and they were just very mind-numbing action. It was just non-stop, exactly the same, and nothing really interesting, to be honest. Each zone are also going to have now 3 missions. So there's an elite mission which requires Astro specifically. Remember, they're the game's first Battleworld team, and then also or a secondary team. So it's going to be interesting to see what team dynamic will be required as part of that. We have Herald as well as the standard mission. So each mission requiring specific teams and whatnot, and we're probably going to get that more detail right before the release there. Something else too, in case you guys aren't aware of Null, they've made a couple of changes to him specifically in the actual boss fight. So the big thing that we took advantage of was the bleed damage, and it does look like it's no longer going to break that cap of damage. So it is going to be more mitigated and controlled, so you can't really cheat the system, so to speak. But we do still want Null to be a powerful foe, so they're going to be making sure that those changes feel that way. But also on top of that too, it looks like characters can be revived if they're not killed by Null. So maybe his supporting cast, obviously the symbiote characters that he summons, if there's an opportunity they take down your allies, you can actually still summon them back and revive them. So good to know. No shards. So this is probably going to be the most important piece of this blog and update, because most of us have been wondering, when are we going to get the shards for him? We've missed already a few months of this game mode where it's specifically required and rewarded, all the hard work with the shards, right? So now we know it's been on pause, and they actually have been able to create a catch-up mechanic, if you will, depending on the difficulty that you're going through. But you can see here, some of the payouts are really good, guys. Like, even if you do difficulty 0 full clear, that's 20 shards. Difficulty 1, 30 shards, and so forth. So all the way up to difficulty 5, that rewards 100 shards for the full clear completion. And even when you don't full clear, they still give you a decent amount. Obviously nothing compared to the full, but like 80 to 90% is still getting you progress, which is meaningful, right? I think most of us will probably be in that difficulty 3, difficulty 4, maybe difficulty 5 range, depending on how competitive your alliance is going to be. But yeah, that in a nutshell is the changes, guys, and this is coming really quick. It's returning as soon as next week, so basically start of next week. So be on the lookout for that, guys. I'm gonna be interested to see if this is gonna be obviously a bigger hit now than last time, just because they've been able to take in some feedback and make some key updates. So we'll see in the meantime. Let me know what you think in comments below. Thank you for your time as always, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.